So I got a dream that I'm gonna be at the top of the scene. On every screen, making my presence something to be seen, yeah. I'll make them all see that I could be anything I wanna be. If you got a dream, then you need persistence and lots of belief, yeah. Yo, don't take that negative energy, I replace that. I just wanna be me, I don't fake that. I just wanna be free, yeah, chase that. I got a new obsession, it's helping and teaching and giving everyone a lesson. It's living and winning and building something that's impressive. I don't wanna do the same thing, I wanna be progressive, so I'ma make a new me, a new beast, a true fiend. He's everything that he wants to be. Look in the mirror, what he wants to see. It's a dude looking back at me. I stay on track, yeah, track things. I'm setting goals, life hacking. I'm steady stacking. I see myself being happy. A better me with a strategy that I'm attacking.
Put to the test and you know I'll ace that. Hit me in the face and I'm hitting right back. I enjoy the chase so I'll stay on track, yeah. I enjoy the race so I'll make that bag. Got a lot of dreams that I'll make come true. Got a lot of things that I wanna do. Got a lot of goals that I wanna prove. And there's not a lot of time so I gotta make moves.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Fly Like an Eagle podcast, episode number 24 here on the Edge of Philly Sports Network. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe, like, notification bell, do all that stuff. I'm here with a very good friend of mine. We've been talking about doing this for like years now. My good friend, John Pesner. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks for having me finally. I feel like we've been talking about this for a while, and finally we were able to get our schedules together.
Yeah, we're able to make it happen. We were talking about this since we were kids, bro. Like, be honest. We were talking about this since we were kids, and now we're here.
Yep, definitely. I mean, I feel like growing up throughout all the years, watching all the Eagles, you know, all the teams they brought in throughout the years, all the debates we've had. So I think it's good we're coming together and doing this.
Yeah, and even the Super Bowl parties at your house, going back all those times.
Yeah. Definitely. Wasn't many Eagles in there. I think we've only had two in our lifetime.
Yeah.
One with the win, but I think I remember.
Wasn't it 3? It was 3.
You're right. Nope, 3. You're right. The one in 2022, 23.
Yeah.
The previous one.
Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about that. But before we get started, dude, you know, a lot of people have been asking me why I call this Fly Like an Eagle podcast.
Why do you call it?
I think you know it. Which singer do I listen to the most?
Oh, yeah. Your favorite singer, Seal.
There you go. Yeah, this guy used to bust me on that all the time growing up.
Oh, yeah. You once you hear that, you start blaring out singing it, or you fall asleep to it.
No, I fall asleep in the car.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's just get right into it, man. And the Eagles actually made a signing today. It's actually kind of shocking here. I still can't pronounce this guy's name. Uzomah. He was a tight end from the Bengals and the Jets. He was a veteran, 31 years old, you know, had some starting experience. How do you feel about this?
Well, I think that, you know, the Eagles only have Dallas Goedert really on the roster right now, so they definitely need to add a tight end into the mix. CJ, I think he was on the Bengals before. I can't remember if he was with Joe Burrow, or maybe it was Joe Burrow's first season but he was on the Jets last year. You know how that team was; they were not good. He did not get much production. I think that I think he was hurt as well, but I think it brings some depth. I think they need it after, you know, Jack Stoll not being there. And he's a pretty big tight end, so it'll be there for like that wide tight end type of deal. He'll be that blocking. You know, they'll probably run a ton of motion with him as well. And Kellen Moore's off. So.
Yeah, for me, I see it like, okay, we're not going to draft a tight end right away. Maybe like in the 3rd round, I could see it. But, dude, we needed someone with starters experience just in case Goedert goes down. So if that happens, I'm like, perfect. And you know what makes this even better? We have an offensive coordinator who throw the ball down the middle to the tight ends now. Because last year, that would never happen.
Right. And with I know Kellen Moore runs a ton of motion, so you have to think that, you know, they're probably going to be running a ton of 11 personnel, so that is going to be possibly 2 tight ends on the field. So you're going to have, you would think, Uzomah up there at some points, maybe in some run schemes, and then you're going to have, you know, with Devontae and AJ, and then you have Dallas, you probably have CJ in there as well, possibly depending on what they do in the slot position. But again, it just adds them some veteran depth right there. And Goddard, knowing his injury history, is probably a good safety blanket for Jalen and Nick's offense.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And the thing I like about the most about this is just blocking. We're going to need it with Saquon. And with Saquon there, with Jalen Hurts, we're going to talk about that later on. But it's a huge addition for this team. And not a lot of people realize that on Twitter. And again, I don't talk to people on Twitter about Eagles. So
definitely, I think losing Jack Stoll, he was their blocking tight end. So losing that, he went to the Giants. I think that Uzomah, again, coming with that veteran experience, with that blocking, with the Y experience as well, because he was under Jack Conklin last year in New York. So he already has that, that blocking scheme to him, and I think it's a good signing. We'll see how he looks in the OTAs and training camp. That would be the real test.
Yeah. What is up, Special Cards? What is up, man? What is up to Brazil? Yep. What is up, Chad? How's it going? And don't be shocked 5 years from now, Theo Johnson is the best tight end from the class. I mean, I got nothing to say about that.
Penn State guy.
Yeah.
I actually know a little about him, but this tight end class I know is not as deep. I don't think you're going to see many tight ends. I think Brock Bowers and but I think there's one other tight end. I think it might have been something maybe Johnson or something like that.
It's mostly
not many. I think that's another reason why the Eagles decided to take Uzomah there, because they know probably going in that they would probably draft a tight end maybe late, depending if they want to bring competition with Calcaterra and Uzomah. But again, it's just not a great tight end draft. So I don't know if they go early on a tight end. So we'll see.
No, there's still other needs, especially at the defensive side of the ball. That's our main priority going through the defense with the secondary and linebackers, and even defensive line too. You can still go through that.
Yep. Howie knows Howie's philosophy is to build through the trenches, so he's gonna continue probably to do that. It'll be interesting to see if that philosophy changes. I know they've been changing it this season with other signings, but I guess it just depends on how their board, falls.
Yeah. So appreciate that, Wesley. Thank you for the kind words there. And so it was not that. I mean, it's still a move that the Eagles needed to be done. So I could still see another tight end. And actually going to the next thing, Fletcher Cox just retired. So we've been talking about new guys coming in. Now we're farewell to Fletcher Cox. Give me your thoughts on that, man.
That's a tough retire right there. I think they were saying that he was probably going to retire. I think him and Jason Kelce took his decision and made and took a while to make the right decision there. That's a tough loss, because then this kind of puts Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the driver's seat here to take that next step. I know Jordan Davis did not have a great year last year. He was kind of on and off. Jalen Carter as well, being his rookie season. I don't know if they were just gassed out at the end there. They played a lot of snaps, but Fletch not being there, that security blanket for them is going to be really tough. And I think since 2012, he's probably been the best at it. I don't think there's many. Maybe Aaron Donald. I think he probably has the edge there, but Fletch is tough. That's a tough loss, and I think on the leadership end as well. I think that the Eagles, loved his leadership and what he brought to outside the organization, within the organization. So I think it's going to be tough to replace that. It just depends if these new guys can take it to another level.
The thing with Fletcher Cox is that he's always been the best player on this team, the best leader. We don't have that many leaders now. We're actually going to talk about that on the defensive side of the ball. But when you think it's just like defensive tackle, he's the first one you come up every single time. And I remember when you and I would play Madden and we'll go through the draft, Fletcher Cox was just right there with Aaron Donald. We're like, okay, let's just grab him every single time. So I'm just telling you, is going to be a major miss. And he just had his press conference a couple of days ago, so that was emotional to watch. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it, and I saw his entire family was up there
Yeah,
with him at the time. They said that his family was there at the draft. I think I read as well. So I'm sure there were some more in the mix there. His probably family got bigger, but yeah, I mean, again, it's gonna be a tough loss, and at defensive tackle now, is there a need for a defensive tackle at this point? Maybe they draft one, or they've been bringing in some depth signings there, but I think that at the end there, him and Jason Kelsey especially, I think they felt that this was a time their bodies were probably going, and I think that the biggest thing both of them is, I think it would crush them if they didn't play at the level they are known to play at. That would be pretty tough for them, and they've been playing at such a high level for so long. I think that their decision, came to that, is how their bodies felt, and how they were feeling into the season. So
yeah. Now, people have been asking me, is he a Hall of Famer? I don't think he'll get it right away. I think it will take him a couple years. I mean, he's got to get in, right?
yeah, I think he said during his press conference he wants to get into the Philly Hall of Fame, the Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame first. But do I think it's a Hall of Famer? It's going to be tough. I think that there's probably other D tackles, D ends are probably getting in before him. Do I think he's worthy of a Hall of Fame? Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was probably top 3 at his position each and every year, behind Donald. I think, again, Donald probably is the edge just because of the sack numbers. Cox had good amount of sacks, but I think if the Hall of Fame committee probably looks at that more, if I had to guess. But if you're looking at overall, I mean, Cox was the man of the dogs there. I mean, he was getting through that line, that bull rush of his. It just was daunting for an O line. I mean, we saw it so many times. He would just push a guy back, and all of a sudden he's in the backfield, sacking the quarterback. So it's going to be tough. I think he does get in eventually, but I think he might have to wait his turn.
Yeah. The thing with Fletcher Cox is that if he doesn't have the numbers he probably does. I mean, how many sacks did he get on his career? 70 or something?
He might have been close to, I don't know the number. I would have to think maybe it was closer to 100.
I think it's 70, but I got it.
Yeah, maybe it's 70. I know the first few years he didn't get a ton of sacks, but he was more of that run stopper in the gap. He definitely got a good amount of pressures. The issue was that he didn't have that huge speed that Aaron Donald got to get close to the quarterback, but he got that as his career career went on. So I consider sack numbers maybe not being that up there, but I think he had a good amount of sacks. So
it's 70.
70, yeah, there you go. 70
it
sacks.
is 70. So I mean, only time will tell. Only time would tell. But with him retiring, that means he's not going to Brazil, dude. He's not going to Brazil.
That he's not.
Him against the Eagles versus Packers in Brazil. I wanted the Steelers. Honestly, I wanted the freaking Steelers. How do you feel about the Packers in Brazil?
I mean, I think it was between the Browns and the Steelers for the teams there. But look, that's an NFC matchup right there. I think if the NFL was looking at it, I think they said, what's going to bring us, some good numbers. And I think the Packers there is a good matchup for the Eagles. It's a very good test. I think the Packers coming in after that, big win in Dallas, I think I remember them beating them pretty badly. It's very interesting because the Packers have made a lot of moves as well, signing Jacobs, letting Aaron Jones go. They signed the safety from New York, Xavier McKinney. So they've done a little bit of stuff that's out of their realm as well, and so have the Eagles. So it's gonna be a very interesting matchup. I think it's gonna be a good one, and their offense is definitely going to test the Eagles
Yeah.
defense because they're better. And I think that Jordan Love with Jacobs, their offensive line, they did lose David McCarty as well. And I think they lost John Ryan's son. But it's going to be tough. The Packers always give a tough matchup to the Eagles. And, I think it'll be interesting to see down there as well. I don't know how you feel about that, but
I'm going to tell you right now. I love it. I'm really excited for this. It's first time in history that something like this is going to happen. The Eagles are actually going. I thought that would never happen. When this news broke, me and my dad were at the Sixers and Mavs. And it was just like, wait, Brazil? And it's on a Friday. It's on a Friday night on Peacock. I'm actually fine not being on cable.
I think it's local for us Philly guys, but yeah. I mean, when the news, they don't really travel overseas. I only remember them traveling overseas to London. I think it was back in 2018 or 2019 season when they played the Jaguars, and Carson Wentz was a quarterback at that time. I think he made a crazy pass. It might have been like Alshon or maybe Nelson Aguilar caught one all the way to the other side of the field. Can't remember, but it actually might have been Goddard at the time. But yeah, they don't travel out there very often. And I think that if there's a team that probably travels really well, especially their fans, it's probably the Eagles. So I heard it's going to be at one of the soccer stadium down there, which is very cool. So
yeah, it's not going to be here. It's not going to be at the link right here.
No, it's not going to be at the link. I think the plane, I think it's a 12-hour travel. I don't even think any direct flights are even from there. If any Eagles fans are going out to travel, I wish you good luck on that.
Yeah. We actually, for the Eagles, I'm telling you, dude, we play that Friday. We're not even going to play to the not the Monday. We're going to play the following Monday, I feel like. We got a whole week off, I feel like.
Yeah, I think they would at least, because they would have to allow travel back. I would think it would probably be that Sunday or Monday they would play, because I think they need, again, their travel back, and then they get their bodies right for that following week. But it's interesting because it's on a Friday, and usually football is not played on a Friday. I think mostly it's high school and college football, and they usually leave it up to them to have their time. But it's interesting on an opening night Friday game in Brazil. It's very unheard of, and I have to think that the NFL is probably going to continue to do this. So
yeah, I mean, it's at 8:00 at night. It's not going to be like in London where it's like 9:00 in the morning.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You wake up and have your tea or your coffee in the morning. Yeah. And then barely awake watching Jalen Hurts throw the ball down the field.
Right.
So
could you imagine if you're in the West Coast, dude, and you have to wake up at 6 in the morning for that game?
Yeah, I would have to think it's probably pretty tough to wake up for that game. You have to go to bed pretty early to get up that time. I know. Again, that's tough. Even the Central Time is not easy, because that's also an 8:00 a wake up time. So.
Yeah,
it's definitely tough for if you're not on the East Coast.
Yeah, I want to go to Brazil. I would have played one more year for that. That's exactly what I was going to say with Kelsey. I thought Kelsey was not going to retire. I thought he would want to play in Brazil. I thought Fletcher Cox would want to play in Brazil. Brandon Graham is saying, which I think we should have cut ties, but that's another story. But
I think that, again, it comes back to what Jason was saying, is that he knew that his body probably was getting to the point where it wasn't going to be 100%, and I think it would kill him if he knew he was declining out there. So some guys let it play out, and some guys don't. I think with BG, it is a tough decision to probably bring him back. I think that, knowing that Fletch and Jason were leaving, they probably wanted some leadership and some stability there on that defense. And, losing all those guys is really tough. That can be really tough for, especially now a younger defense coming in. I know you have some other guys on the back end, but, you have CJ coming back, who's definitely a personality. I mean, you have Darius Slay, who's a personality. So I think that, Brandon being back is definitely somewhat of that stability for these guys, is somewhat to lean on, especially when you're in the dog days of the season and you're facing some adversity right there. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
see that word.
But Brandon Graham, 1 year, $4 million, and
Mhm.
if we got rid of him, maybe we could have kept Reddick. Maybe Devontae Smith could have had his contract by now, which Devontae Smith's contract is soon to be done. So
Mhm.
he should have been paid already, Devontae Smith. So if we got rid of
Yeah,
Graham, he maybe would have got that deal.
right. Devontae is an interesting one because I think him being a first round pick has that 5th-year option.
Yes.
So, like Landon and Jordan Mailata is a little different because he already got paid. He was a 7th-round pick, but I think they're taking their time with Devontae, knowing he has that 5th-year option just in case they can't get a deal done. But I think that he's definitely probably warranted a pretty hefty contract. I think it's going to be right around $25 million a year. I think that if you're looking at some comps, I think that Pittman was at like 23. I think that AJ's at 25.
Yep.
I think he's just below AJ. I would probably think he'd be right around that 23 to 25. I know wide receiver contracts are premium. So,
Yeah.
I think that I think they probably get it done before training camp because I just don't think they want to go into training camp knowing that Devontae's contract is still not done.
It should have been done right away. Like right after Landon Dickerson, that's when it should have been done. I'm like,
Right.
now we're
Right.
panicking here. What is this are we gonna have enough? He's worth this much. I forget who just got paid. There was a big wide receiver who just got paid. And now it's like, oh, Smith is gonna want more than that. And I'm like, can we afford it?
I think may have been Calvin Ridley is the wide receiver you're thinking of.
Yeah.
I think
Ridley.
I think Ridley being at his age at 29 and I think he got paid like 20 mil or 21. I can't remember the number. I know it might have been 23 actually as well. I think Devontae's a little bit better than Ridley. I think he's a better route runner than Ridley is. And being at the age he is, I think he's 25 right now. You have to think he probably has one more contract left. And Ridley being at 29, he's probably at the down end of his career, or he could be trending that way after this contract. So, it will get done. But I think he's probably north of Ridley at this point. But it's not far off from what Ridley got paid. And it's very interesting that Ridley did get paid because the Tennessee, now it wasn't their same group, but Tennessee traded AJ to the Eagles, didn't pay him, then decided to pay 23 to Calvin Ridley. It really is like really funny how like things work out and how like that trade just had so many ripple effects on that offense.
And they got rid of Derrick Henry too. He's now on the Ravens.
Yeah, and then they got rid of Henry. I think his time was up with Tennessee. It is interesting because they are going all in, so I thought maybe they would bring him back. And they have they decided to go with Pollard, which is more of a multi-dimensional back, kind of similar to DeAndre Swift in a way, a good passing and running back there. But that's tough shoes without Henry.
Yeah, the Titans are just straight up rebuilding, like straight up. It's nothing else that they got. So Ridley got 4 years, 92 mil. Mm-hmm. So what is Smith going to get? 4 years, 98.
I would think it's probably still that 4 year. I think it's going to be north of Ridley. I think it'll probably be that 4 year 100. I think that AJ's contract at the end of this year probably, being that where he is right now, he's probably going to want that extension, seeing that where other contracts are. Now, he has to play the way he's been playing to earn that contract. I still think he's going to want probably an extension at that time next year. I guess we'll see how it will play out. But if you look at the contract that AJ got a few years ago, that with the amount of contracts that have been handed out and with everything growing at this point, you think that these contracts, especially for wide receivers, are going to go up. So I think again, Devontae at that 25 is probably right where you're going to need, that the number to be reached. It'll be interesting to see the guarantees on that because he is a slimmer wide receiver who is not built like AJ, or he's not built like a Jamar Chase or Cooper Kupp in a way. He's a little bit different than Tyreek. Tyreek has the speed that definitely earned that contract. The speed kills, and so does his route running. But it'll be interesting to see what they end up with him.
Yeah. I mean, Saquon just got paid. I mean, he got big bucks. Can you imagine if we get Devontae Smith with huge money now, Saquon Barkley? So how do you feel with Barkley and Jalen Hurts, dude? I freaking love it. It caught me off guard.
Yeah, it's out of like we were saying before, the Howie Roseman philosophy there. Usually the past few years, they have been kind of plugging away at running back. They had, with Miles Sanders on a rookie deal, he was inexpensive, which is kind of the way they've been going with. And then they traded for DeAndre Swift, which was another running back at a low cost. But I think that after watching this year and watching what McCaffrey has done with the 49ers offense, I think that is kind of the blueprint right there. And I think that how he sees what that can do, it elevated that offense to another level. So I think they're hoping that Saquon can kind of do the same thing, is elevate Jalen and the Eagles offense and put another piece for Kellen Moore to be as dynamic as possible.
Yeah. Like for me, the thing that really gets me hyped about Saquon is offensive line. He's never had an offensive line on the Giants. He's never had a proper team built around him. He didn't even have a turf perfect for him. That stadium was terrible. Now look at the Lincoln Financial Field compared to that. Like,
yeah,
all these signs are pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, MetLife turf is a little bit of a black hole there. It's a crazy amount of injuries that happened there. I think the worst one was the Rodgers one on that turf. I think that's when everything kind of sparked. Like, okay, this is like weird that this keeps happening. It's like quicksand out there, like sucks you up. But with regards to, you said, the offensive line, definitely. I think that the Giants' offensive line last year was not good. And they did have great quarterback play. They weren't a good team in general. Yeah. And I think that Saquon, behind a better offensive line, hopefully able to stay healthy. He hasn't been healthy throughout his career. Hopefully the Eagles can keep him healthy. It has potential to be very dynamic. And you're not going to be able to use him a ton as well. He's not that high volume guy like a Derrick Henry in a way. He's more of that you can multi-dimensional back where you're going to use him in the pass and run game, but you can't use him a ton because you have the risk of injury with him.
Yeah, but he still should run the ball like 20 to 25 times at least. I mean, I don't want Jalen Hurts doing the push at the 1 yard line. Give that to Barkley.
Yeah, it 20 to 25 times. Yeah, I would love to see it. It'll be interesting how they use him. I'm curious to see how Kellen Moore incorporates Saquon with AJ, Devontae, Dallas, and how that run game comes into fruition right there. Yeah. And then you have to realize Kenny G is going to get his carries at times. So you got to realize too, and I think it comes down to as well the pass blocking situation. Yeah. Two guys that are good at pass blocking, but not great at pass blocking. But I think Kenny gives a little bit more of a better pass block. So you would think that he might get some snaps at maybe on third down, or he might get some series on his end just to give Saquon some time off.
Yeah, the thing with Saquon is that we've never. Who was the last running back that we had who has the Saquon Barkley caliber? Like, was it Miles? Not even Miles.
I think McCoy is probably the last one that you have to think had his type of caliber. And McCoy wasn't as high of a draft pick as Saquon was. I think you have to look at him. I think Westbrook played at a very high level. He wasn't the body type as Saquon. Westbrook was smaller. And then you had Deuce Staley, but Deuce Staley was more of a high volume runner than Brian Westbrook. That's why they were decent when they first, I think, when they overlapped with each other, if I remember, long time ago. But if you look at previous running backs, I think the most recent would probably be McCoy when it comes to running and in the passing game.
Yeah. Yeah. Now there's Eagles fans online saying he's the best running back in the league. And I'm like, he's top 3? He's top 2? I would not put him ahead of McCaffrey. Jacobs, probably not.
Yeah, it's a tough debate. It's tough because you really didn't get a great evaluation of Saquon last year, because of how poor that team was, the Giants team. So he didn't have a good year last year. I think I remember he was hurt on top of it, and that team it was not good. The year before he had a very good year. He also got hurt, but if I had to go top. If I had to go top backs, McCaffrey would probably be that top dog up there. Other backs,
you got McCaffrey, Henry, Jacobs.
I can't. Trying to think about the top backs on the top of my head right now.
Like it's tough. Barkley's up there in that conversation. We got to put him up there, but he's not top 1.
Oh, definitely. I think Barkley has. I think Barkley definitely has to be up there, and I think his track record throughout the years of what he can do shows that he should be a top back in this league. And again, if everything comes into place here, Saquon has the potential to be really, really good this year.
Yeah, what is up, random? Get some strong calves. That was my next question, dude. Who wins in the squat contest?
Yeah, I think Saquon. I don't know if you've seen AJ Dillon's calves before. His thighs, they're pretty tough to beat out. So
they're pretty crazy, dude. And how he pulls the trigger, giving this guy 3 years, 33 mil or something like that. Mm-hmm. That caught me off guard, dude. We never pay for a running back like this.
No, never. As long as I can remember, he extended McCoy, but how he usually keeps his guys that he drafts, he keeps his homegrown guys, and we go back to Devontae that he wants to keep his homegrown guys in-house. He doesn't usually let guys walk. But I think, again, that they looked at what Saquon can do in this offense, and they looked at that McCaffrey blueprint, and they said, you know what, Saquon can elevate this level to being good to great. And if it all works out, and if Saquon stays healthy and he has the right mindset and he's a go, you definitely have the potential to see 1,000+ yard runner this year. I think all-purpose yards he could probably eclipse 1,400. I think it's very possible.
Yeah, with this offensive line again, the offensive line is key. And with Howie Roseman building into those trenches, Mailata just got paid. Dickerson got paid. I can go on and on.
Yep. Howie is his philosophy, and is always his philosophy since Reed, and it actually started with, and your dad would know this too, Joe Banner.
Yeah.
Was the guy who brought this blueprint in to the Eagles organization, and Howie worked under Joe, I believe. And you win with your lines. You win in the trenches because nothing's moving if your lines aren't moving. So I think Jim Harbaugh actually had his press conference at the owners meeting and said that you're only as good as your lines, I believe. So again, if the lines are going and the D line's dominating and getting to the quarterback, and the O line is getting movement on the opponent's D line, you're going to see some points on the board.
Yeah. I said, with our red zone being so bad the last couple of years, now we have a running back that can actually go to the end zone, that can actually get us some points, which is actually love to see. I just don't want to see the push every single time.
Right, right. And you also don't want to put Jalen in harm's way every single time, which when I would
Yeah.
see that, I would get a little queasy about it. But I think that Saquon in the red zone, who has a little bit more of a heavier build, you're probably going to see him in that short yardage situations there, and I could see them using Saquon in the short yard situations in the goal line as well to try to get that push in without Jalen being exposed there.
Just crazy. Just crazy. But really quick, guys, we're going to go into 2 commercial breaks and we'll be right back.
All right, guys, it's time to talk about Sherry's Tickets. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with Sherry'sTickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. Do not pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard to come by tickets to the big game? If you need a more personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050. That's 610-494-5050. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, do not overpay and save with the best at Sherry'sTickets.com. Save 10% using the promo code EOP10. That's EOP10. You'll thank us later. Sherry'sTickets.com. All right, guys, if you're a Philly sports fan and you want to travel with your favorite team, then travel with the best. Go to PhillySportsTrips.com. They have self-travel packages and full travel packages available with round-trip flights from the Philadelphia airport. Packages include direct flights, 4-night stays, all-inclusive tailgate parties, lower-level group tickets. Whatever you want, you got it with PhillySportsTrips.com. If you want to travel to an upcoming Phillies game, make sure you check out Philly Sports Trips. And do not forget, Philly Sports Trips has all the away trips for the Eagles' upcoming 2023 season. Jump on it now, because you do not want to lose out on all these great opportunities. Go to PhillySportsTrips.com.
Yep, shout out to PhillySportsTrips.com. Shout out to that. If you're going to the Brazil game, use Philly Sports Trips or Sherry'sTickets.com. So let me ask you this, dude. Should the Eagles fans be worried that we lost some of our leaders on this team? Should we be a little nervous here? Fletcher Cox gone, Hassan Reddick gone. He got traded to the Jets, and we got Huff in return, basically. And then Kelsey retired. So should we be a little nervous here?
I think it's a little worrisome when you're losing all 3 guys who have been the foundation of your team for almost a decade, or actually over a decade at this point. Hassan has not been there as long. He's only been here for a few years. It definitely is a little worrisome because you have guys now that are younger, such as Cam Jurgens now has to fill in, who has minimal snaps at center. And now you have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis having to take that bigger role that Fletcher Cox had. With the great thing about, I think, Jason was that you would see on TV is he would be such a general out there. He would call off plays, and he just had such a good grip of the game. And now Cam Jurgens has to step in and be that guy to kind of be that general out there. And it's going to take time. I mean, Jason was doing it for so many years, and he's seen so many defenses that's a little worrisome on that offensive line right there. And then, Fletcher, again, like we said, I think you have to be worried that depth is gone, and Jordan and Jalen Carter are going to be playing more snaps again. So it all depends on how their conditioning is. And I think that this year, I think that we're going to see a little bit of a jump between one or both of them. I think knowing he's gone will bring more out of them. So I think again, I'm not as worried on the D line as more as the offensive line with Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, with Jason, we were number one offensive line. I mean, now are we still not best offensive line, or are we like top 3 with Kelsey gone? I feel like we're still number 1. Honestly.
They're going to be, yeah. I mean, I don't know like many of those lines out there. I have to like look at all of them again. You look at the NFC lines right now of who they lost. I mean, Dallas has lost a lot of their pieces, and Tyron Smith, and Washington's in transition. Giants line has not been good for a few years now. Actually, maybe even longer. But they're still going to be, I think, a top 3 line. I think we have Stoutland in there. They'll probably work on, in the draft of drafting some guys that are higher. And they built through the trenches, and Stout is going to get these guys, I think, ready to go each Sunday. So they'll still be very good as long as you have Lane in there, Lane and Jordan and Landon, and even Cam. I don't know who that right guard's going to be. I think they'll be in very good position.
Yeah. And speaking of Lane Johnson, I feel like he only has like 2 more years left, honestly. So I feel like you got to attack or draft and build up those trenches. Lane doesn't have a lot of time left.
No, I think he said he only wants to play until 2025, and he's going to reevaluate what he does from there. The draft, again, is, I think, more – I think how Howie approaches it, especially, is about the future. So It wouldn't surprise me if they drafted a guy who was kind of in that future plans of theirs, especially if it comes to a Lane Johnson replacement when that time comes, or even a guy that, maybe, again, fills into that right guard, or they draft someone in need that is a replacement in another position that they see is probably going to be weak at in a few years.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people are telling me we should draft Powers out of Oregon, the center. And maybe, but we got Jurgens and we got Dickerson who can fill in for that spot. So I'm like, should we get Powers, the Oregon?
If I don't know where his value is at that position.
It's like up there. He's like one of the best.
He's one of the best. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who. I think there's that. I think it was a kid from Washington or Oregon State.
Yep.
Who's going to be up there? I don't know who's going to fall at them. I think that if he's probably there and Howie sees it as a fit, Howie's probably going to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah. He's got to be. The Chiefs went the young route the last 2 years, and I know that Mahomes and other veterans, but the Eagles still have veterans that can step up. Yes, that is true. We still have veterans that can step up, but that means the window is closing for the Super Bowl, and it's like you got to keep on rebuilding that. So, you agree with that? That the Eagles have veterans that can step up?
They should. They're still a very well-rounded roster, and they add some pieces there. I think that the vets that definitely have to step up are on that D line right there in that D line area. I think that Nolan Smith having to step up in more of a bigger role. Again, we go back to the Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. I think Jordan has to step up more than Jay does because he is more that nose tackle. He's kind of taking over that Fletcher spot right there while they can move Jalen around more in that D tackle rotation. So I could see him. And then you have in the back end, you need guys, Darius Slay has stepped up. I think Darius Slay is probably going to take a more prominent role in the leadership part of it this year. And then you have, CJ is going to be CJ. And then, Reed, I think you're going to need Reed to, if he is going to be out there, you could see Reed stepping up as well.
And you also got to remember Josh Sweat. We restructured him for 2 years. I forget how much, but knowing him, he will definitely step up. I mean, we need his sacks. We're missing Reddick's sacks, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, definitely. I think that Sweat is another guy that I think has to take that load off of what Fletch gave defense. So
I know.
It's a big year for Josh Sweat as well. because he's on a 1-year deal. He didn't play very well last year. He didn't have the sacks numbers he wanted, and he's in for line for another contract. So it's a big year for him.
The defensive players will have more respect for Fangio than Sean Desai. Yes, but when his bend and don't break defense, is he going to have those players like back up in coverage? Like Sean Desai had Hassan Reddick in coverage, and that let him out of here. So I'm like, Vic Fangio is kind of like the founder of bend don't break. So he's got to use those players in the right position. That's key.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, Josh Sweat, man. Please don't have him in coverage this year, please.
I think you're going to see Josh in coverage a little bit, but
yeah, we'll see. But the biggest shock signing in free agency, I think you'll be shocked by mine, but who's yours?
So I think my shock, I think I have to go with Devin White. Is my biggest shock. Just because his fit right now is, I think it's an interesting fit. I see why they did it. He's a guy who has played at a high bar before, but he hasn't been good the past few years. He's kind of that freelancer, and I think they're looking at his athletic ability probably to take over. I mean, if you look at the Eagles linebackers last year, they were not the most athletic bunch. You know, you had the Morrow and Cunningham was pretty decent when he was in, but you know, they are what they are. They were guys off the streets at the time. Morrow was a free agent earlier in the year, but I think it has to be Devin White for me. I think it's just a very interesting signing, and for the amount of money they gave too. I mean, it's looking like he's going to be on the roster.
Yeah, he's going to be on the roster for quite a while. But for me, honestly, dude, Gardner Johnson. Just for the fact that I thought we were going to get Justin Simmons. He played under Vic Fangio. And everything that's happened with Gardner Johnson last year, or not last year, 2 years ago, how things have ended, fans didn't even want him back, dude. Fans didn't even want him back how things ended. But we got him for like, what, 2 years? 2 or 3, give or take?
I think it was a 3-year deal. I think it's a 2-year structure though. So Eagles love doing void years. So
yeah,
it's kind of with the cap and kind of elongate it. But that's a good one. CJ is interesting. That was a little bit of a shock to me when it happened because I honestly didn't think they would bring him back.
Nah, I honestly did not think so. I thought we were going to get Justin Simmons for sure and then have Reed Blankenship stay. And then Saquon Barkley, honorable mention. Right out of the gate, you get Saquon Barkley.
I think Saquon. I think just based on because Howie's philosophy of running backs the past few years is a shock in itself that they paid a running back like Saquon, and a good amount of guarantee as well because you know, the past few years since McCoy they were kind of plugging away at the running back position, and Miles being on such a low deal at the time, they finally decided to go pay for one. So it's a shock, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have a shock in the draft because the biggest draft need, in my opinion, is linebacker. I mean, linebacker and safety. Nah, it's mostly linebacker and then safety. Safety.
Yeah, I think if you're looking into the draft, and it's 2 weeks away, I mean, linebackers definitely a need. I think you need another DN there. I think you need a line. I think you need maybe 1 or 2 linemen. You need a right guard. So that's going to be interesting to see who takes that position. I know you have Tyler Steen is probably the guy in line right now, but I could see them bringing in a high pick for that. And I think the biggest need is their back end. I think corners. I think they need another corner. They are very, very weak at that position. Darius Slay being at the end of his career, I shouldn't say at the end of his career because I don't know how much longer he's going to play. It seems like he's in good shape. I'm saying that he is probably has 1 more year left of this contract where he's at. But I think that going in next year with possibly Bradbury again, which I don't think they're going to bring him back. I guess we'll see how OTAs works with him. With Ricks and Healy, Ringo, and Mario Goodrich and all those guys, it's just not starting caliber It's not a starting caliber bunch right now, and it doesn't intrigue me the way things happened last year. I know they brought back Avante, which I think is a good signing for them with Tyler Hall. I think they'll have some good competition there.
Yeah. The thing with Maddox, I knew he was coming back because once they said a reunion, I'm like, okay, you just let him go for reduce the deal, and then now we got him back, and now we got to fix Devontae Smith. So it's just like we always knew he was going to come back, but can he stay healthy? That is my question. Can this guy stay healthy?
Yep. Again, you would hope so. Most guys. It's been interesting. I don't know what the Eagles their injury report has been the last few years, but I feel like they've been more the healthy teams.
Yeah. Now you know who does stay healthy, but I don't want him on this team. That's Kenneth Gainwell, dude. I don't want him on this team, man. I don't want to. Is he actually going to stay? You think, like come like training camp or something? But my friends are like, no, he's got to go. He's got to go.
I think Kenny has one more year in his deal. So I think more than likely he will probably be back this year as that number 2 back, take the load off of Saquon. For some reason, Nick likes Kenny G. I mean, that's his guy. He talks about him all the time, and I think he's probably here to stay. Again, if you look at the backs that the Eagles have right now, it's Saquon, Kenny G. They have, I think, Davis, who they just got, and then Nichols, who's probably a body camp back at this point. Maybe he for a roster spot, and then Davis is more of his own scheme back. Definitely in college, he was that. But Kenny's probably far ahead of those guys, and interesting to see in the draft. They probably need one more back in camp, just because Saquon's not going to be playing in. They'll be horrible if they did that. Played him in training camp.
I still think they're going to make a draft day trade. I still think they're going to make a draft day trade for a running back again, for like a second caliber.
For a deaf, for a deaf guy, I don't know. It'll be interesting. But again, Saquon and Kenny, what's the difference in them is Saquon's more of that gets you to the end zone type of back. He has more of that burst, and Kenny's more of that high volume type of back. So they kind of complement each other. So being that Kenny's on a good team friendly, he has 1 year left, and he knows the offense, I probably would think he's probably going to be back next year.
Yeah. I mean, I just want a running back that can step up if Barkley, I just want someone who can step up, and that's not Gainwell.
I agree with that. I mean, Kenny G can't even stay healthy himself. I mean, he's been banged up these past few years. And again, he's had some fumbling issues that we've seen also, which is a little concerning. So you can't give him the ball a ton just based on confidence level right now. But again, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But they're definitely going to need another back. I would definitely say that they're going to need another back if it's through the draft. They're going to need a veteran signing because our good friend Boston Scott's out there. I don't know if they're going to re-sign him.
People are saying he went to the Giants.
Did he go to the Giants?
People are saying he's going to the Giants. I don't know if he went there, but that would have been funny if he goes to the Giants, dude.
If he's there, if he's on, I could see them maybe like bringing him back just because he knows the offense. But again, they're going to need another camp back because you can't go in with 3 backs, I think, in camp because being that Saquon's injury history and you're not going to run him a lot through training camp and preseason. That's all I'm going to say.
Nah. But actually, one more thing before we end this, I just thought of it. Not Gainwell. Kenny Pickett. How do you feel about it? I'm just like okay with Kenny Pickett, dude. I'm okay with it. It's like people are saying he can't throw 5 yards. I'm like, he's good for a backup.
Yeah, it's an interesting. When I first heard that, I was down in Charleston at the time. I was a little bit like, whoa, Kenny Pickett's on the team. I see why. I think Kenny in the offense he was last year. I mean, nothing against Matt Canada. I know he was a good college coach. I'm sure he's a good coach at time, but the offense was not good, and Kenny was put in a really, really tough situation at that time. I mean, he just didn't look comfortable out there at all. I mean, he had happy feet. He was late on throws. It looked like he wasn't hitting his receivers, and he just didn't look comfortable. And I think that when they brought in Russ, that was kind of the tipping point with Kenny. And the Eagles, they're going to take a flyer on him. He's at a low contract. He is from he went to Pitt. I think he might be from around this area. I think he's from Ocean City or something like that. So he's familiar with being in Philly. And the Eagles definitely, they do value the backup quarterback position. I think they saw Mariota last year, and I think they were probably like, we need to upgrade this, but we need to upgrade in a team friendly way without paying Marcus again $5 million a year, being that they have other needs at this point. But I like it. No, I think Kenny offense, I think with Kellen, I think he's a quarterback friendly offense. Knock on wood, you don't want to see Jalen go down, but if Kenny has to go in there, I think he could win you a few games.
Yeah. I mean, does it worry you that he plays in like a different style of offense? He's not the same quarterback as like a Jalen Hurts or Marcus Mariota or something. Does that bother you? For me, it really is like you got to – I mean, he's not the best runner. So that kind of worries me a little bit.
I think he's athletic enough to adapt in the offense. Again, you don't want to go down and go to him. But if I'm worried about his athletic ability and learning the offense, I'm not as worried with that. I think that with Jalen there, him being behind Jalen, learning the offense that way, a lot of the schemes kind of mesh with each other in his past. In Pitt, he ran it like a pro style offense. So, it's more of a West Coast, and Matt Canada didn't run it full West Coast. I think he ran more of like a running type of offense. I think they were trying to run the ball more with Najee and Jaylen Warren, and it just worked out. But I think that I'm not as worried with Kenny behind there.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's going to conclude Fly Like an Eagle podcast, episode 24. I want to thank John Pesner for coming on, man. We've been talking about this for years. We've been talking about this for years, dude. For years.
Yep. And it's it finally happened. And being that the draft is 2 weeks away, some good fun times happening. OTAs, even training camp, and then right around the corner will be the regular season. So
yeah, you definitely should come back on when the season's like going, and then we can talk during the season.
Yeah, so. Definitely. I had a great time. This was fun.
Yeah, this was great, guys. This was great. Please make sure you hit the like, subscribe, follow us on all social medias. Go to our website, audio platforms, all that stuff. And we'll catch you all, guys, later. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. And, peace, guys. Go Birds.